Hi guys, I just want to pop in here and say some things that I'm thinking about in reference to ghosts. I am sick, so just bear with me here. I've been reading a book called The Dead Are Alive and They Can and Will Communicate with You by Harold Sherman. It was written in 1981, and it is a compilation of stories by mediums and regular everyday people who have gone from not believing in the afterlife potentially to believing very much in the afterlife to having their own personal experiences with spirit communication and having either loved ones visit them or working on spirit communication in order to speak with loved ones who have passed. And I am reading a chapter right now about this medium who first started, no, how do I explain this? This medium who allows spirits to enter their body and then tell them their death story, essentially. So like earthbound spirits that haven't moved on, enter the body of this medium and then tells them their death story. And it's a lot like past life regression, but it's for a spirit and not for a live individual. And they corroborate this story by getting the name of the spirit if they can remember it and the details of their death, and then looking it up in some sort of file, because it's usually like something that is bad, like something that's not great. A guy accidentally set himself on fire when he covered his hands and feet in kerosene and then brought a torch up with him to continue picking mangoes from a tree. And another person was passed on by being pew by like a group of people who broke into his house. And so these events have been recorded in a newspaper. They're seen as like historical, something important to tell the communities. So they go and they're like, hey, this is evidence of real communication by a real person, because this was in a newspaper. Like, we're not making it up. And the book is really designed to allow you to understand that whether or not you can conceptualize and recognize that life after death exists and that spirit communication is possible, it's like, well, we're giving you evidence that not only does life after death exist, but spirit communication is possible. Now, I said all that to say that I'm obviously still watching a lot of ghost videos, ghost stories, and I'm interested in this now from a different way, in the conceptualization of like how we allow these earthbound spirits to move forward. And the thing that I've already talked about on my channel is people who have not either been able to accept that they have died, they don't understand that they have died, like it was so sudden and traumatic that they have like no recollection or like understanding that they have passed, or somebody who has suffered in trauma and they're reliving the event over and over again, and that reliving of the event is keeping them stuck here. Or they have been a bad person and caused harm to other people, and they're reliving that trauma that they've caused over and over again, even if they died naturally, because they're unable to accept that this has happened, that they were that person, and then move forward into the next stage of spiritual existence, right? So in the case of this haunted bakery that has been a viral TikTok story, as well as appeared on Bizarre Bub, and they've aptly named their ghost Harry. and they're talking about his taking things into another dimension and bringing them back, putting knives in the ceiling, making things levitate, putting things in a bunch of triangular patterns, etc., etc. Then they have someone stop by and pray over the bakery, and they're like, okay, so like things chilled out for a little while. But I guess I am wondering why regular, like everyday people don't think that they have the capacity to intercept with and communicate with a ghost, even if they're not a medium, and then allow that ghost to recognize that they're dead and then help them to move forward. Because I feel like if we are just getting God, or whatever God you believe in, to come in and remove the ghost, we're really just like we're really just like evicting them, right? We're just like, get out of here. You don't belong in this space. This is our space. We live here. This is our bakery. We bake here. And then they're just like doomed to walk the land forever until they haunt someone else's space, right? So, I read in this book too, and I thought that was no, I didn't read in this book. Sorry, you're just remembering things wrong. There was a content creator that says like they're a medium and they don't believe that they should just like cast out the ghost because then that makes the ghost someone else's problem. And I do have to really agree with that. Why would we cast out the ghost, making it someone else's problem when we could actually help the earthbound spirit? So like, I think this is where education comes in, to giving people access to information that allows any person, whether or not they are a medium, the power and capacity to interact with the afterlife and ask people to move forward and allow them to understand that they're dead. Because I really feel like whether or not you're just like a ghosty that's like opening doors and frightening the people that live in your house, or you're a ghosty that's doing all these terrible things with the bakery and freaking out everyone that is there, you have no recognition that you're dead, and you're acting out in some way in order to communicate with people. And I feel like the more aggressive you are, the more you interact and act out, the higher likelihood it is that you will get everyone to go away so that you can continue to live your solitary, angry existence. Or maybe there is some part of you that just like you need like the energy interaction to go, to have this, like, it's the only form of communication you have, you know, like how if you're abused and the only way that you get love from your parents is when you act out, so then you act out on purpose in order to receive that version of love. Like, I think it's the same thing. Like, the only way that you as the spirit are getting any interaction is if you are acting out and you get that reaction from somebody, and so that's the only way they know how to get an interaction. So then it would come, like, the natural next step would be to figure out like who it is, and then be like, hey, I understand, you know, your name is Stephanie and you died here, and I just want to let you know, like, you're no longer in your body, you don't have any ties here, etc., etc., so that you can get them to move from one place to the other. So I really do think that whether or not you are a medium, or whether or not you are a psychopomp, like, you have the capacity to do this. Like, people think all the time, like, it's your space, you have the capacity to ask this entity to leave. Okay, but what if you also have the capacity to ask the entity to move on? To help them understand, to release feelings, to recognize, to understand, and then move forward. Because it's the tie to the situation, it's the tie to the place, it's the tie to the potential people that live there that keeps them stuck here. You know, I guess we would be putting ghost content creators out of business if we all started doing this. But then we would be, I really truly think then we would see like a transformation of like lightness being brought to the earth, because we would be feeling a lot less torment and heaviness and despair and decay from all of the sad ghosties that are stuck here on earth and aren't allowed to move forward to the spirit realm because they have no idea that they can.